Brunswick zoning board meeting for April 22nd, 2024. Have a roll call, please.
Lucy Mamihis.
Here.
Derek Merrill.
Here.
Jeanette Torres. Yahaira Torres. Carrie Sherman. Carla Castaneda. Michael Belvin.
Here.
Kristen Rich.
Here.
Rafael Manzanares.
Here.
Michael Tublin.
Here.
John Zimmerman.
Here.
Okay, we have 7 members present.
Public announcement.
Please be advised that the notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act have been complied with and satisfied, and that the annual notice which gives sufficient notice of the time, place, and conduct of all public meetings of the zoning board of adjustment of the city of New Brunswick has been filed with the city clerk and placed on an appropriate bulletin board at the lobby of City Hall, 78 Bayer Street, New Brunswick, New Jersey, and has been transmitted to the official newspapers of the city of New Brunswick, namely the Home Distributed Star Ledger.
Salute to the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't think we have any resolutions, Dan.
No, we do have minutes of last meeting. They're there on the table. That was of the March 25th, 2024 meeting. I think I put planning board at the top, so they will be voted on with the change planning board to zoning board. The date should be right. And we had a very short meeting last night. So the eligible voting members from the last meeting are everyone who's here.
We have a motion, please.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
All right, Lucy Mamihis. Derek Merrill.
Yes.
Michael Belvin.
Yes.
Kristen Rich.
Yes.
Rafael Manzanares. Yes. Michael Tublin.
Yes.
John Zimmerman.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, first public hearing, Gloria Legacy LLC, 271 Benson Avenue, block 269, lot 1.01, ZB 2023-10. The applicant proposes to demolish the current 2-story mixed-use building and replace it with a 4-story mixed-use building. The new building will be 1,606 square feet retail and 18 residential units. Peter Lanford, Esquire. Well, in your case,
I'm not here, I got the floor, I'm not Peter, but I'm a gold reader. Jim Stoll, S-T-A-H-L, Boris Stoll, Foley, Mignolo, Hyman Stoll, in North Brunswick. I'm representing Gloria Legacy. Pardon, I have 2 witnesses. I try to move quickly, but I don't rush things. The first gentleman I have is Mr. Noel Young, who is my engineer. Okay. Now, the words I'm going to mark. Mr. Chairman, you did obviously indicate the proposed development. There was one mistake on the report, the staff report that came. There's a difference between pages 3 and 2.
You're referring to the engineering report?
Yes. Yeah, there's the proper number is, thank you, Jeremy. It's 15 residential units and it's broken down unit commercial. The narrative on the next page indicated 12 units. All right, I have here, how many exhibits do you have now?
1, 3.
All right, well, we're going to refer to the first one first, obviously.
Yeah.
What's the,
I'm sorry. Before we go any further, does anybody on the board have any conflict with this application? Okay.
thank you, you just reminded me.
Anyone need to swear in the witness?
Your jurisdiction?
Yes.
Okay. I was just going to mark you here, Chairman.
Swear him in first.
Can you please state your name, spell your last name for the record?
Noel Arian, last name Y-O-U-N-G.
Do you swear affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You may proceed.
Mr. Young, have you appeared before this board before?
Yes.
Okay, we'll accept you the next one.
Thank you very
because you've said different numbers of residential units. So on page 2, it says 18, then you said 15 somewhere, and then it was 12. So how many residential units
Well,
are
I
there?
thought, if you look on page 3.
How many units?
Just how many?
How many units?
It should be 15, am I
Yes,
correct?
15 residential units.
15.
I wasn't criticizing, but just a little confusion when I read the report, that's why I want to clarify.
Okay, there was confusion on my part because page 2 has 18. You said page 3 had 12, but now what we're hearing is that there are 15. So
Yes.
there are officially 15.
Yes.
So 15.
Okay.
The overview description is the correct description on page 2.
And what is it on page 3?
Page 3, which is the lot design layout, top of the page.
So the overview description says 18.
Well, I counted 15 residential units, 3 one-bedroom and 12 two-bedroom.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, just to bring you back to, we had several meetings at the TAC with this application. It originally started as 18. We had several meetings, it's been reduced. The latest iteration was down to 15. I think maybe there might be some older information in the report.
We've established that tonight's application is 15 units.
15 units.
And don't reflect it as I'm not complaining or criticizing, I just want to make it clear as you did.
That's where it came
15 units.
Yeah.
All right, the first board you're going to look at, Noel, is what's the signature block on the lower right-hand side?
And,
Yeah.
It's lot, this is lot 101, lot 269.
All right, that replicates a sheet that's already in the submission, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. I always ask 3 questions. No, number 1, please describe to the board what's there now. Number 2, describe to the board what we intend to do there. And number 3, please define all the variances or waivers requested.
Okay, what the existing now is a shed, a garage shed in this area here. There was before an existing building that was recently demolished, that was taken out already. That's basically the existing, because the grade, the parking and the asphalt there is an existing already, fully developed. So that's the existing condition, basically it. And for proposed, we are proposing to have a 4-story mixed-use building, and that's 15 residential unit and a 1,398 square foot of retail at the ground floor. We have also proposing to demolish or remove all the sidewalk curb and replace it with a new one in the entire frontage of the project between Ramsden Avenue and Talmadge Street. And we have proposing also to provide 17 parking, of which 15 are regular parking and 2 is handicap. We're also proposing to provide what you call it, a vehicle electric charger parking slot. One is a handicap here, and one is not. And then also we are proposing also to have to do it on this side, where for the future there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parking for electric parking. And that's basically with regard to the site plan. Now, based on the engineering requirement, because of the demolition of the building, we are providing, even though this is almost entirely impervious, we are providing a detention basin because of that, which is, we're providing a 24 inches diameter of 72 feet RCP of detention basin, just to control the additional runoff.
What is the signature block on Exhibit 2? Well, it's a bigger sheet number.
This is the sheet 4 of 6, this 3 of 6. Grading and landscaping plan. Grading and utility. stormwater system that is going, eventually gonna discharge onto the existing inlet along Branson Avenue. There are also existing utilities, water, gas, and sanitary, but all of them will be replaced with the new laterals, and all of them. The fire collection, FDC connectors here, and there's an existing hydrant where it can connect. For landscaping along the street, we are not putting anything here, no trees, no new trees, because there's an overhead wire, overhead electric wire here. But here along Talmadge Street, we're providing 3 new trees and we're removing 1 existing tree. And along the parking area, we're covering everything from the outside by putting shrubs along the perimeter. With these trees and these evergreen trees there. And in terms of lighting, I think we discussed with the engineer, we're providing LED lighting in one area right here and some under the ceiling of the cantilever building. We are attaching 4 of the LED lighting. So basically, that's why we have here. Now, with regards to further studies of the architect, we are putting a firewall along this cantilever side. This will be explained with the architect, and because of that, it will have an effect on the parking. I have a minor modification in the parking. This is the new one, the alternate plan, wherein we are, there's a new existing wall on the cantilever side of the building. And because of that, we have to push it a little bit in order to provide some sort of a turning and putting this bike rack area here. And also remove the truss and popper a little bit in order to take advantage of the area where the area light is. So basically the layout is the same, except it was just moved a little bit.
You want to outline the variances required?
Right, for the variance, one of the variances is the building height from 40 to 43. And the other one is the building coverage from 40% to 52.70%. The impervious coverage is from 90% to 92.1%. The floor area ratio from 1 to 1.86. The parking is also have a variant. We are proposing 17 parking with 1 credit or equal to 18. But what is required is 35.
And what are the other uses surrounding this building? Are any of them are all inconsistent with the variances which we're seeking now?
Yeah, this is a mixture, but some of this is residential, this is commercial. This is commercial and this residential, this is mixture.
And how we have...
But the existing before is also a residential and a commercial.
Right. And the square feet, the 10,000 square feet is consistent with the zone, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And the only variances we're looking for is building, which is less than 10%. And why do we need that height? Parapet walls or floor areas?
No, that will be, has to be discussed with the architect. He had the idea for the parapet wall.
Fine. Anything else?
Yeah, there's also another one is the building setback. Here we are complying with the 10-foot building setback, but on this side, we are not. This is because the frontage building setback is flush to the lot line along Remsen Avenue.
I was just to clarify, impervious was required as 90%, and we're at 92.1%, is
Yes,
that correct?
but in the original, before
Yes.
the building was demolished, the impervious area is 94.4% per my plan. So actually, the proposed now is 92.1. It means that we are actually reducing it if the city would consider the demolished building, are actually we are reducing the impervious.
And how about the building coverage? What was that like before the demolition?
Building coverage, no, because the thing is now, per the plan, the existing building is the shed, so that's only 5%.
Anything else?
Well, I think that's about it that we have.
Well, I have this witness, Mr. Chairman.
How will trash be picked up from the building? Is it gonna be city trash or is it gonna be commercial?
The ground floor,
Garbage,
Garbage.
garbage pickup.
Trash pickup.
Has the owner made a decision whether it's going to be city or private?
the what?
I'll ask the architect.
And is there any lobby area for
Yes,
packages and parcels? It's
should
always
be-
Outside the architect.
Any other members of the board have any questions for this witness? Board professionals have any questions?
What is the revision date on those plans?
So this one, February 12, way before.
Mr. Solomon, that was division number 2/2/12/24, the note is revised per TAC comments.
Okay. Any questions, anybody else?
He says it.
Maybe I didn't hear it correctly, but the parking situation was how many spaces?
Okay. We have 17 parking space. 15 is regular, 2 is handicap. No, sorry. Wait a minute. I didn't check it first.
What's it
Sure.
currently have?
No, there are.
It says here.
Are there not 18 provided? Leaving 17?
No, there are 17 provided.
You get a credit for 18 because of the
Yes.
EV space.
Yeah.
And 35 are required?
There are 8, there are.
There are 35.
There are 17 provided. Of the 17, 2 are handicap. 5 is regular. 2 is at 15 is regular.
But you're also getting a
Of the
credit
two-
for the EV.
Right, but there is one of the handicap is a EV, and one regular is an EV.
So you get
So
one
get-
credit,
You get 1 credit, so it's equal to 18,
leaving a shortfall of 17.
shortfall of 17, yes. But as per the engineer, we provide conduits for future 5 more parking to have an EV space.
So just to clarify, you are about asking for a 50% break on parking.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, get it all mapped,
It's
right?
like 1:1, 15 units.
Yeah, that's it.
15 units is 1:1.
Your math is correct.
My math is correct,
Yeah.
yeah. So where do you think everyone's gonna park?
How are we resolving the parking issue on the 17th space? Let me bring the architect up on that.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to church.
Excuse me, it's, just to confirm, it's one handicap space, right?
Yes.
Not two?
No, there should be an edge.
There's only one H.
On the way, yeah. It's only one edge. that-
One and two electric vehicle
Right,
charging
right,
stations.
yeah. I'm sorry, yeah, you're right.
Oh, let's,
I'm
thank
super
you.
So then you have a
We have one handicap space, one EV space.
Two EVs.
One handicap space 2 EV space.
So you get 2 credits then, is
Yeah.
that correct?
No,
Not
only,
one?
Only one, the 2 EV have a 1 space credit.
Oh, because of the math, no, the math came out to only 1.
Yeah.
So, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair, if
credit for
I
19
may
spaces.
just, the calculations are in the planning
Right.
report, they're on number 6A.
Yes.
35 spaces are required.
Correct.
17 are being built. 2 of those 17 are going to have EV charging equipment there, so they get to double count those credits. So they're building 17, but they get credit for 19.
And they're supposed to have 35.
35 is the total requirement, yes.
Just so I can, because that's what I was, we get 2 credits for the 2 EV spaces. That's how it comes up to 19. Just want to make sure my math is consistent with yours. We still come up short 16.
Yes.
Okay, any questions for this?
This wall is impacting the parking spots?
There is
Did you say you were
there
gonna push 'em?
proposed wall on this side here.
And then you talked about pushing the parking spots and the trash being smaller?
No, this, because of this new wall underneath, this is cantilever building. Not cantilever, this is clear here, but there is support. There is column support. But this area here underneath is clean. That now we are providing a wall. And because of that, we have to push this back here and pull the bike rack, which is located somewhere here. We're pushing it back here. And then the island, there's a peninsula here, in this area where the light is. So we need to push back the traffic portion here in order to take advantage of the area where the peninsula is. So we can push back this parking, push in, and also we have to have a good back turning here.
What about when there's snow?
Huh?
Snow.
Snow, how are you going to deal with when there's snow? Where is assuming it snows again as much as it has in the past, which is a good assumption, where is the snow going to go that is plowed or is stored on site? Where's the snow going to go?
We can, there are areas here, and also this area here, where this is also 9 foot wide island. We can push the snow in this area here if we need to.
So the snow won't impact the number of parking spots?
Not the parking spot, this area outside the parking.
Push it on an island?
Yes, in this long area, you can push it here. This is 9 foot wide. On the, if you look at the plan, you can see it. We widened this from, I think, around 6, now it's 9.
And then when are we going to hear the testimony about why you should not have a setback?
Setback. In where?
Yeah, on Remsen?
Here, because if I move the building, even 2 feet, we cannot accommodate this parking anymore. So this is set, just like this. This is only 3 feet, this is minimum dimensions already. If we move the building even by 2 feet, we will be in violation of the parking dimension.
So why don't we make the building smaller?
Let me bring up the architect.
Okay.
Okay, you can call your next witness.
Yeah, Mr. Chudzik. How do I do with the pronunciation?
Close.
Okay?
Mine's funny name, it's Chuck Nick.
Chudzik, okay.
Can you please state your name, spell your last name for the record?
It's Christopher Jucknick, Juchnik, Registered Architect in the
Do you swear to affirm the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
You may proceed.
Have you testified before this board before?
I haven't testified to this board about 10, maybe 12 years, but I have testified to numerous boards. I've been a registrar since 1994.
And is your license still in full force and effect?
Yes, it is.
And you have been qualified by the board, is that correct?
Many, many
And
times.
you're a licensed New Jersey architect?
That is correct, yes.
Mr. Chairman?
All right, we'll accept you as our witness.
Thank you. Mr. Judge, before you get into your testimony, I like to hit the last first sometimes. Are you familiar with how garbage pickup will be maintained?
I understand in speaking with the owner during the TAC meetings and also during our own personal meetings that it's going to be privatized. They're going to have private pickup depending on the bulk. So it could be twice a week, 3 times a week. I guess they'll get a feel for that. And they do have a dumpster. They have a dumpster area in the back for the garbage containers.
All right, you also will discuss the lobby area when we get to that point. The other question, are you familiar with why a knee wall was required?
We were talking about that wall that I'll
Yes.
get into it in a second, yes.
All right.
I was going to go through all that.
No, I just sometimes I like to not be dangling
That's fine, that's fine.
issues. All right. Now, I'm going to do the same as I did with the engineer, although I don't have to know the existing, what's here today. Tell us the proposed development and direct your answers to the board, including any variances that you're familiar with.
So, my first exhibit is the drawings that the board should have with them right now. PL 0.0 is our first sheet. That will be dated as 12/13/2023, and the last revision was number 2, revisions as per TAC comments 2/14/2023. Now that said, when I get through this, when I get to the page that has the wall, that will be different than what you have, so if we have to mark that in evidence, we can do that.
Well, please, also, I want you to do the following, because Mr. Solomon and the board will appreciate. If there's any exhibit that is different than or was not in the original package to the city, please identify it so that we know that it was not something that was reviewed exactly the way you're presenting it.
Understood. I shall. PL 00 is the cover sheet, and it did not change from the original. And again, it just basically shows the neighborhood around the existing site. Just a quick black and white rendering, if you will, of the building itself, and then just the drawing index and the building occupancy, which lays out each bedroom on each floor.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you a little, because you're doing well as far as I'm concerned, so I may just ask you a couple of things.
Sure.
So you said you have a plan that shows surrounding uses. Describe to the board, what are the surrounding uses?
Well, there were a couple. The existing site had an old, I guess, 2-family or 3-family, I'm not sure. Next to that, to the left of that, there's a bodega of some sort. Across the street, there is a large, I believe it's an apartment complex. I'm not 100% sure. It does not show up here as well. I did take the liberty of making a couple 11x17s. I can circulate it to the board, one on each side, and then one
Let
for
me ask
yourself.
you a question. Who took the pictures?
They're actually from Google Maps. I took it this morning.
You took them from Google Maps.
That is correct.
And as far as you're concerned, do they reasonably and accurately portray the existing condition?
Yeah, it's before the building was taken down, so you can see the older building that was on the site to the right of this picture, but then the building across the street is as it's been for many, many years.
All right, I would, Mr. Solomon, can I mark that as A1?
Yes.
And just hand that to the young man at the end of the table. He's still a young one.
So on the right side of that picture is where the old building was. It's been taken down. Directly across the street is that multi-family building.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a few, and I'm not trying to interrupt your flow. The building that is proposed, what is it? Tell me this, how many?
It's a mixed-use building. It's on the lower level, it's 1398 to be exact square foot of retail. And then on that lower level is our support for the building, meaning we have, well, to answer your question, let me go to our next sheet, which is PL 1.0, which shows the first floor. So Remsen is down at the bottom of our sheet. The retail space I just described has entrance directly off of Remsen. Again, it's 1398 square feet. It has a bathroom and storage area for itself. To the right of that space, on the corner, is our lobby, which has a mailroom, and of course the elevator, which we are required to have in the building, the main staircase, if you will, of the lobby, and then we have a utility room, which is accessed off that parking lot. There was maybe some question about mail. We do have this mail room. I understand that, again, during discussions with the client, there would be access given to any carriers, whether it's card key or key, same thing for the tenants of the building. One more thing over the retail space, because we are required 2 staircases, we have that other staircase tower. The wall that we were speaking of, so again, PL 1.0 does differ slightly from what you have there. There is a wall that basically just continued this line to this first column that we have here. In doing some research, we have found that because we're within 10 feet, less than 10 feet, when you're in an open parking area, you're required to have that fire rate. So what we decided to do, since we're proposing brick, we decided to say, you know what, let's have the brick just go on back. It's the same depth and thickness as the pier that was already there. I know that the civil engineer said that he needed to do a little bit of maneuvering over. It's only because of the backup for the car itself. But again, we lost no parking on that at all. So again, this is a different sheet than what you would have. So that basically outlines the entire first floor.
Could you elaborate on the 10 feet from where to where?
Well, for side yard requirements, we require, if you're less than 10 feet for parking lot, you have to have a 1 hour rating from a parking.
Okay, thank you.
My next sheet is PL 1.1, and this is a typical floor plan for the second, third, and fourth floor. And again, it shows that we have 4 2-bedroom units and 1 1-bedroom units. Again, that's per floor, so that gives us the total of 15 units. The 2 families the 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom are all open concept, living, dining, kitchen, for the open feel. And then also we have the 2 bedrooms each have a master suite where you have a bathroom inside the suite itself, along with the closet. And again, that's our PL 1.1. Our PL 2.0 is the front elevation along Remsen, which we saw a smaller version on the cover sheet. This is exactly what you have now. And on this front elevation, we're showing the materials. I have a few renderings which I'll share with you about the building with the colors and the materials, which I'll go into a little bit more in depth. Those, of course, will be new exhibits. Going to the heights, I know some of the questions came in the heights. So, to the actual to the roof level itself, we are 43 feet. That is to the roof level. Then we have a 36-inch parapet, so that brings us to 46 feet. And then we have 2 small projections on top. I'm not going to call them towers because they're only about 1'9". So that brings us to those little areas, which again are in between on the corners. In between, we're we're lower than that. We're at 47'9". So those are 2 architectural features, which we kind of mimicked for the buildings, the building across the street. It has actually the same sort of architectural features, so we decided to incorporate that. As you know,
So one more that I want to clarify. According to the plans, which have been defined, it says building height max 40 feet, and it says proposed 43 feet,
that is correct.
but it's not. What is the actual proposed height?
My understanding was that we're going to the top of roof,
Okay.
and it's 43 feet.
Okay, then I'm
That's
sorry.
right, that's right. That's right. So
Because I heard you just say 46.
Thank you.
So it's
And then
43 is to the top of roof. 46 is to the parapet itself. My understanding from the TAC meetings were that we would measure that number to the top of roof.
All right, let me clarify, thank you. If you're talking to the roof where I could stand,
That is
the
correct.
roof where we might have equipment or not, is from the proper measurement of height, whether it's mean or wherever you start by code, the height is going to be 43 feet.
That is correct.
And that's less, of course, any math is less than 10%. I want to keep it at that.
That's
Number
correct.
2, the other height is a parapet wall. Is that correct?
That is also
And that would
correct.
be a decorative as opposed to structural?
It does serve a couple of purposes. If we do have any kind of equipment on the roof, we keep it towards the middle of the building. It'll
Right,
screen it
right.
slightly, but also because of our fire separations on corners, whatever, we decided to put parapets on
Let me
top.
ask you another question, a dangerous question, because I don't know what you think. Why do we have to go to 40 feet?
Well, 43 feet. Basically,
Thank you.
we're trying to keep the floors, well, 10'6" we need for the garage, and minimum, for fan accessibility. And then we have 9-foot ceilings for each apartment, again, today's standards, people are looking for taller ceilings. And then just the construction in between. So we're figuring somewhere between 14 to 15 inches for the structure, between beams and floor joists.
Is the 43 feet consistent, again, with other buildings and structures in the surrounding area?
I would say across the street for sure. I did, again, I'm not a planner, but I did drive around the area. There are similar taller buildings down on the opposite side, maybe 3 to 4 blocks away. But across the street, as you can see from the picture, that it's consistent with that height directly across the street.
Did you do an investigation of the building across the street with regard to visual variances that you could see, the extent they compared with the variances we're requesting on this site?
I honestly didn't do that, other than just looking at the heights.
It's a
It's the
residential.
mix makeup, my belief is residence. I haven't been in shop
No,
inside,
that's
it's
fair.
residential.
It's straight residential, it's not mixed use. is that correct?
That's my understanding, yes. And so
Is
once
there
again,
parking,
sorry?
I know I'm trapping you, but you're handling it so
That's
far. Is there parking on site across the street?
That I do not know, I didn't notice.
All right, fair.
Yes, there it is, I can answer that, I'm familiar with that building, it's the St. Mary's Apartments, there's
Oh, the
buildings,
same area.
there's parking in the back,
Oh, I know
on
where
the
we
side
are
and
now.
the back for that apartment building.
Okay. Thank you for orienting me.
No
I
problem.
like to tell people I grew up in the grand city of New Brunswick, so I know it pretty well. Go ahead.
Okay, once again, the front elevation, we do have the retail space here. We are proposing a sign at the retail space, which is 24 square feet, which would, which is within the ordinance itself. I think it could be a little bit larger, but we kind of did proportional to the door, over the door. So I went over the heights. Again, I'm gonna go over, just again, I have the colors, so I'll go over the materials and colors when I get to the renderings. 2.1 is our right side elevation. Again, this is what the other side would have looked like with this little pier, because we do have the parking underneath. We allowed the cars to come under, so we kept it open on this side. It'll work structurally. We've already checked with the structural engineer. This is what the other side would have looked like. But when we realized, and again, it's the opposite side, we realized that we needed that firewall, then we unfortunately had to fill in the wall. So so basically it's just a consistent facade along that bottom of the brick. Those are the actual PL drawings. I have the rear here, which, excuse me, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The left side is 2.3, my bad. This is that wall that we were filling, but you understand the concept. It's just basically a continuation of the brick. And you'll see it better in the color rendering. So first I'll go over the front facade.
Now, was that elevation or the next color rendering elevation provided to the board? or-
No, it was not.
So these are exhibits.
That is correct.
All right, so that would be technically, I guess, B and C.
My preference would be to call it A2.
You got A2 and A3. Mr. Chairman, I would just ask that, I know that they were not provided prior to the board or to its staff for review, but they are colored renderings, and I think it would be helpful to the board. Of course, to me.
Excuse me, Jeremy, you want to call the architectural A2 because the wall that is not shown on the plans that we have?
True.
You want to just call the entire package or just the one page?
Just the one page, I would.
No, I think they were covered by the revision, the 21220.
They never made it to the
Okay.
board itself.
All right.
So that's a good catch, Tony. If you wouldn't mind,
So that would be two.
can you find that page, please, just so we don't forget it? The page in your architecturals that shows the revision to the wall. We'll call that A2. Put A2 and the date on today's date on that, please.
And these would be A3 then?
The color rendering that you have there now is A2.
A3 and then A4.
Okay, so this is the front elevation on the corner of Remsen, showing the front here with the retail space, and then up above. So we're providing brick at the, or proposing brick at the lower level, basically very close to what the building across the street does have. In between on these architectural features that project about 1'9" above the building, again, to kind of mimic what the building across the street is doing. We're proposing stucco panels, prefab panels, not the old stucco that we used to have, but Drive-It makes them, they're ephes panels that give you kind of a nice grain look. And then in between, just hardy siding, basically so for that residential look. Then of course you have your architectural grade type windows with the HVAC ornamental units below those windows themselves. And again, this is the little bodega next door to it, and then the rest of the block down this way, down Remsen, and that would be towards the parking lot side there, which we have the parking lot side shown here. So this would be A4. And that wall that we were speaking of used to be aligned with this column, so there would have been a pier here, and then you would have had nothing up until this point, but we had to just fill this in to the depth of the car itself. Once again, we're showing the same architectural features. We don't have, on this blank corner here, because it's really facing outward, we didn't propose that little projection, but the materials all the way around are consistent, as with brick at the bottom, and we have the ephes panels on either side of the little projections, and then we have the hardy plank siding around the rest of the building. And that's basically the building.
I think we've covered that. In the FAR, are you familiar with the,
I know that we're over, I'm not exactly sure the number.
you have it within your wheelhouse?
No.
That's all I have with this witness, Mr. Chairman.
Any member of the board or professionals have any questions? Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify a couple things. On the building height, the city has a definition of building height. It says on a flat roofed building, you measure to the top of the roof, top of the flat roof. So in this case, the building height by the city's definition of how to measure that is 43 feet. It gives an exception for things like elevator, penthouses, and parapets and things like that. So we don't count the parapets that they're intended to screen rooftop equipment. We measure it to the top of the roof, which is 43 feet. So they do need a variance. The limit is 40 feet. They're proposing 43, so they do need a bulk variance for that. Just a couple quick questions, just based on some things in the plan report. Thing number one is there a way to upgrade the quality of materials on the tower elements instead of having stucco panels to have a little bit of a higher quality material?
We consider doing metal panels. We're really trying to, and I know this is gonna sound a little odd, considering the building's larger than most of the buildings in the neighborhood, except for the one across the street. We just didn't want to get too modern. These panels, they're not, again, the old ephes panels when we first, when first supermarkets, they come in and the guys come in and do free coats. They come as prefab panels and they come with a 25-year guarantee. Now, to answer your question, yes. Could we consider something? We absolutely could. I'm not sure if the board has an idea of whether or not there would be metal, or any other type of material, but we could consider it if the board would ask for it.
Sure. I mean, I don't mean to take the pencil out of the architect's hand. It's, you can propose or to come up with different ideas, but we typically don't recommend putting plastic siding or ephes stucco on the front facade of buildings. If you could do it in the rear facade or in a place that's utilitarian and no one's going to see, that's fine. If it's an economical situation there to save some money on the construction costs, but on the front facades, and in this case you have two fronts, we'd like to see the higher quality, more durable, more attractive.
So what did you say you prohibited? You had mentioned the stucco itself and then
Plastic siding and stucco ephes.
There are metal products that actually mimic that look. And we could definitely consider that in order to keep the character in terms of the color and that kind of grain, kind of just, again, match the building across the street. We absolutely can consider that.
And then could you just go back to the floor plan on the ground floor? Because there was a comment in the report about providing a secure way for parcel delivery persons to get in and deliver their parcels to the storage room, mail room, without having access to the residential parts of the lobby. so that those persons only have access to get into the parcel room, do their delivery, and not have the ability to go up an elevator or in a stairwell or something like that.
That's fine, I apologize, I didn't see, was that part of the TAC comments? Because I don't recall seeing.
Yeah, there's a comment, 10J just says the lobby package area should be clarified. How will this be secure? Will the delivery person freely enter the lobby? What will prevent unauthorized persons from accessing the elevators and stairways? The resident lobby should provide a secure area for parcel delivery separate from the residential access.
Do we use cards and/or keys?
Well, that was our discussion, I mean, there's a number of other multifamilies that have that, you know, you give the UPS guy, the post office guy, he has his own card key and you really access the door, because I'm assuming the door will be locked, you know, depending on the times of the day. And that was, again, was discussed in length at the TAC meeting. I thought that was going to be sufficient, that's what we did at the mailroom. Again, if it becomes something of an issue, I could speak with the client, we could very easily take this mailroom and move it up onto Remsen and have it actually access from Remsen and then also from the lobby.
The idea is not to not have a mailroom. I think the mailroom is, you need one for a building of this size. The idea is that if an Amazon person who's never been there before delivers to that mailroom, that they can get in and do that delivery, but they can't go in the lobby and then go in the building and have access to a residential area. So however you want to design or laid out to keep those two things separate, I can certainly leave that to you, but the idea is that we don't have, you know, an unauthorized person we're not giving them access to the residential parts of the building.
Is there contemplated an intercom or something, so if I come into the...
Honestly, intercom, if the person's not home, then they don't get the delivery, and I'm not sure if that would be.
No, I meant,
the answer.
let's assume I'm visiting somebody on the 3rd floor. Now, when I come to their building, can I get in the lobby? Because that's the question. If I get into the lobby, I can take an elevator to any of the floors and to any of the apartments. If it is locked and the delivery person gets into the delivery area, that's fine, because he or she cannot then go from the delivery room into the lobby. So I think the question that I'm hearing is there some way to restrict movement either into the lobby, or if you get in the lobby, restricting the access to the elevators? Todd, is that
Sure, it can be designed multiple ways, but the idea is that we're keeping those two things separate.
Right, but so it's not access to, allowing access to the lobby is not, I guess, I don't think that's really where you guys are not going. Because that's what I said, the lobby would be card key. So the only way in would be if that delivery person had a card key. Or a code, depending on how they work. And then, obviously, elevators and doors nowadays, we use the card keys on those too. However, we could, like I said, we could possibly redesign this where that wouldn't even be an issue, where the mailroom would definitely be accessed only from the outside. That's what the board's wish, we could definitely comply.
And you have to account for DoorDash and Grubhub, those kind of deliveries where you have to be buzzed in to the building or the tenant has to come down.
Well, as our attorney said, that's more of buzzing somebody that is actually home. Whereas a delivery person, they'll come, somebody will be at work, they won't be able to get that person, so.
Well, there are two ways to do that, Mr. Chairman. We're in a whole new society with Grubhub and Uber and all this. The other way is for the delivery person to tell the person to call them when he or she gets there, and then the recipient of the grub has to come down and get it in the lobby. Or they say, we'll be there in 10 minutes, you have to be there to let us know. I mean, I really think the telephone call from the delivery person to the recipient may be the answer. But I don't think we should waste your time. I think it's a design of a program that has to fit Todd's criteria.
Right, just making sure that area as they enter is secure. They can't go any further than, the St. Mary's Apartments across the street has an area where you go in 2 double doors. There's a buzzer on the side for each apartment. Push that buzzer, obviously, let you, and the second door is to go into the elevator.
Right.
So you should consider something like that, having something secure so that they can't go any further and access elevators.
I think that the answer is, and I don't say yes to everything, so I don't think I'm a yes person, just to try to get an approval. I think this is a smart question. And I think that as a condition, we would satisfy the reasonable requirements of COG and come up with a plan. Maybe we could spend another hour.
Oh, I understand.
No, I think the card key is a good one, but there's other things too.
Whatever the city feels more comfortable with.
Throw rocks at the window, pebbles, and then they'll have to look out, they'll see the grub guy.
As a condition of approval, we can look into it and have, and redesign and submit it for the board's, okay.
Yeah, so along those same lines, because the primary issue is the safety of the residents and the
Right.
safety of the citizens of New Brunswick. So I think we've clarified like the safety thing with the lobby and people being able to access, and that'll be a condition most likely. What about the safety with like the lighting? Because I can't figure out the lighting that's going on with the parking and the wall, and like, it just seems like there are a lot of places for people to hide.
Well, I can answer for Noel, if I'm wrong, please correct me, because we obviously worked in conjunction with this. So we have lights on in front of, above all the entrances, which was submitted. The part under the building, because there is parking under the building, there are lights that are there under the building also. And then there are also lights in the parking lot itself, correct? I'm not sure how many, but I believe it satisfies the foot candle requirement are required. So the whole site is going to be lit, and I believe, again, I apologize, but the lights that are on, in the parking lot, there's the ones that obviously are under, don't have the screen, but they'll be screened properly to light the parking lot itself, but not leave open.
Are they motion activated or will it be on from dusk to dawn?
I believe there'll be dusk to dawn in the parking lot. Dusk to dawn in the parking lot.
Yeah, updated lighting with the wall, like does the wall impact the lighting at all? Because like the wall, not,
Not really, because we have two lights in front of this, and the wall's right here, right along this. So by the time you get past here, you've got the lights that are here, and then you have the site lighting back here. You're talking, I mean, we say wall, it's 20 feet, so it's basically, leaving from
Yeah.
here to there.
So they did submit a lighting plan,
oh,
and it does cover all of the parking area, both the part that's under the building and the part that's open to the air.
mhm.
The only not lit area would be on the sort of the outside of that wall. It's far left of the drawing. So the wall is on the left side. No, the wall goes from the floor to the ceiling, so the wall is sort of in alignment with that last or leftmost parking space. So we could ask them to just put some wall pack lighting on the outside of the wall. The only thing is we just have to be aware that the building next door is 3 or 4 feet from the property line, and this is about 5 feet. So we just want to be aware that we're not sort of shining the light into somebody's living room or bedroom or something like that, so.
I believe we can install those wall packs, we'll work with Noel, and then we'll make sure that whatever the foot candle allowable bleed over will be compliant with.
Any other questions, anyone?
Where does loading and unloading happen for retail?
Right now, I believe it's going to be on street.
The plan is,
I mean, they can pull in, obviously, we have a parking lot during the day, depending on when the deliveries are scheduled. That we have a full parking lot, we have access on both sides, off of both streets. So depending, again, we're not sure what type of a retail establishment it's gonna be, what kind of deliveries they may need. I mean, if it's a smaller operation, they may not even get deliveries, they may just be getting,
Well,
they may be using that mail room to get all their.
would you contemplate the delivery would come to the front door of the retail establishment?
Yes.
As well as,
Well, the side, there is a side door too of the parking lot.
What happened with the driveway? Because the report that I have like still has some questions about the driveway, the width.
there was an exception that was noted at the driveway, do you have that?
Are you gonna have a planner or?
I'm not gonna have a planner, the mayor call is as follows, if the board, feels that a planner should, I don't think I need one, but the board said, the breakdown was, and I'm not a fill-in, but we had some changes and we fell through the cracks. In fact, I was talking today to Peter, and I said, Peter, we do not have one, so I'd have to come back with a plan. I make no excuses, it's my responsibility, I look for it, and when I didn't see it, we wanted to come here. I try to be upfront. So if you find it difficult to consider it tonight, then we'll come back with a plan.
Well, Mr. Chair, there's a D variance for FAR, so.
Well, is it D variance? Oh, it is.
There's a D variance for
The height.
FAR.
The height.
Yeah, so, in addition to the bulk variances that someone would need to justify, so without that testimony, I'm not sure the board even has the ability to approve without that.
No, I would bring a plan at your next scheduled meeting, or when you can have it be on the agenda. I'm not trying to get away with something. I'm prepared.
Can you resubmit so we could review that wall design and stuff like that?
Whatever you want, when I come back, we'll bring it back. You said you wanted to review the wall, the new wall?
Yeah, that new wall that you're proposing.
All right, so then we won't proceed with a vote, obviously, until we get the plan. At the next.
No, I'm teasing you.
Okay.
Well, we can get testimony today from the wall. I don't think we have to bring a new exhibit, but I would bring a planner in to close the,
What I'm trying to say is, would you resubmit before the next hearing so we could take a look at that wall you're proposing?
why don't we have to, if you want us to resubmit, we will resubmit. I don't know whether we have to.
I think they're asking for submission of plans that show that wall so they can review them.
Just
if they don't
updated
have
plans.
it.
All right, no, that is not a problem. My young architect is having ankle surgery, so he would not be able to be here. However, we would have the revised drawings, which the engineer could describe. I have no problem with that.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, just a recommendation. It seems like with all of the items the board has discussed so far, it might make sense for the applicant to make the floor plan changes on the ground floor, to make the facade upgrades that they're talking about, maybe just to show the board what the different options are, and add the wall onto the plans, and just come back with a full package of
Corrections.
information, and then you can present it and hear the planning testimony, and then make your decision.
No, I like to, yes, I have no
I
problem.
also have another comment. Over on Remsen Avenue, it was paved in 2023, December 2023. Can you put your utility on Talmish? Because there's a 5-year moratorium on it, so unless you're gonna wait 5 years, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there was another solution to that, but I didn't.
Infrared, but again,
I didn't understand it, because I'm not an engineer, I don't know that. Yeah, can we put it on the other?
If there's an existing main in sanitary water main in Dunwich, then of course, yeah, we can do that.
so that will be part of your next submission.
Yes, that would be part of the research.
All right, does any other member of the board have any questions for the two witnesses that are here? Professionals?
Mr. Chairman, if I could just
Yes.
recap what we want to do, because I have a reporter and I can. The recap is A, we have a revised plan showing the knee wall, A. B, we have a revised plan showing the first floor area with the lobby and the mailroom delivery, and come up with some type of a entry solution. Next, we have a planner with regard to the planning testimony with regard to principally the FAR, also the height and the other variances, including the important one, which is parking. We also have an elevation revised and submitted that shows a upgraded material for the elevations to 2 fronts. Have I missed anything, Mr. Chairman, or Todd, or?
The utilities.
You see, I can count on you. And the revised utility plan showing that we're going to connect at Talent Street. Now, I'm aware of the issue with regard to what would happen is have to take the 5-year moratorium and next week PSE&G or someone comes in and cuts the street anyway, and then we have to deal with that. But yes, have I covered it all now? Yeah. Good. Do we know when the next meeting is?
So,
Mr. Dominguez?
next meeting is,
But the subject, if there's a sanitary light on top of it, you have to check that, because if there's none, then we can.
Yeah, when you come back, you let us know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if there is none, we'll have
yes,
to deal with it.
20th, May 20th. Yeah, 'cause the next one is,
Next one will be
because it's the
27.
third Wednesday, in May, because otherwise it's Memorial Day conflict, so May 20th.
May 20th without further notice. Am I right, Mr. Chairman? Dan?
No, we don't, because testimony is not done, so the public comment on this hearing will happen at the next meeting.
Okay,
I just want to confirm, no further public
No
notice.
further-
Hey, you need an extension.
Hmm?
You need an extension time to act.
I would prefer if you granted one, if you sent an email just confirming, granting that extension.
Only because you're a good guy, yeah. Till May 31st or June, whatever,
Okay.
May 31. Thank you very much.
okay, you're welcome, gentlemen.
I think we would have had to come back anyway, but I apologize. I'm trying to put a new system in my office, so this doesn't happen again. Sometimes we get too long to make the decision.
No problem.
Danny, what's the date?
May 20th.
20th?
Yeah, because Memorial Day would conflict. Yes, it won't be.
So not the 28th of Tuesday, but the previous Monday, the 20th.
Yes.
May 20, right?
I have it on the third Monday in May, which is the 20th,
That's our typical thing to do, is first on the, for Memorial.
and the following Monday is Memorial Day, so it obviously isn't that, the 27th, it can't be.
Well, at least it can't. But no, we're scheduled for the 20th, that's our regular meeting.
On the one that I have that's posted, it says public notice, the following dates, May 28th, and then in parentheses it says May 27th holiday.
Oh,
I took a picture of it because.
Yeah, that's what I have too.
Well, that's odd.
28th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the following day,
Because
Tuesday.
it got moved to Tuesday.
Well, so we need to resolve it now to avoid a.
Yeah, okay, so Tuesday, May 28th, sorry. That was atypical of us, but Tuesday, May 28th.
May 28,
Yes.
May 28.
The day after Memorial.
May 28.
Okay,
All right, May
5/28.
May 28th.
May 20, no, May 28. 5/28/24.
okay, we will start the next hearing. Can Carry International LLC, 72 Remsen Avenue, Block 158, Lot 23, ZB 2023-11.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, Dan, what's the deadline for submission of revised plans?
The,
20 days?
well, for the, here, you want 20 days, Tony?
yeah.
20 days, so the
That's
8th,
the 8th,
yeah.
May 8th. May 8th,
You got 16 days?
20 days, I think we're going to give it some time. I'll confirm it tomorrow.
Okay, the applicant is proposing to demolish the existing single-family home, construct a new two-family, two-story dwelling in the C1 zoning district. They're seeking approval for D and C variance to complete the project. Mr. Stahl, I assume is the attorney.
Same stall again, same guy, same station, attorney for Can Carry. I have Mr. Johnson, the preeminent engineer. Arthur, where is, where? Oh. Stay with me. Oh, first. I should have folded up your, all right.
Mr. Stahl, before we go any further, they need a planner for this application also, right?
This application does require a D variance for FAR.
So you don't have a planner tonight for this?
No, so we're gonna,
So we just table, do you want to have their testimony tonight while they're here?
it's up to you.
Or do you want to?
I mean, I don't have any objection to that, but it's not ultimately up to me, it depends on what the board wants to do.
While your witnesses are here, we'll have the testimony for the two that are here,
Yes.
okay? we'll do that rather than stop and start over again.
Okay. You're up. Please raise your right hand, state your.
He's
name
already
for the
sworn
record.
in. He's-
Yeah,
Sorry, you know. Are you the engineer for this project, sir?
Yes.
All right. Can you please, the three questions I asked, existing conditions, proposed development, and the variance schedule?
Okay. Okay, site is located at the northbound side of Ramsey Street, and the existing condition is there's an existing one-family building, 2.5 story, and this is like small. The size is like 25 by 100, the lot size, and there's an existing building, one family building. What we're gonna do is we are demolishing the building up to the foundation, up to the basement layout, right? Foundation. So we are taking it off. And because with that, we are proposing to install a two-family house of around 1,110 square foot per unit for the first floor and the second floor. So basically, we are using the same footprint of the foundation. And we are not doing anything on the other side but other than we are replacing the sidewalk and the curb on the street. And then also the existing, there's a walkway here alongside wherein that we will be cutting that and removing the one that is adjacent to the building, putting landscaping in there. And there is no, so basically we are reducing the impervious very little bit, so we are basically reducing the runoff, stormwater runoff of the site. And then also with that, we are proposing to provide 10 shrubs along that landscape area and also 4 evergreen trees at the back. And for the utilities, we have a 3-inch water line and sanitary line, and based on the recommendation of the engineer, we are replacing those two, the sanitary line and the water line. It's not yet shown here, but when we revise the plan for final complete compliance, we will replace that. So basically, that's the only thing about it. So we are providing also, we are removing the AC condenser here that's located here. We are putting it at the back per the recommendation of the engineer. And that's about it on the civil side.
Could you repeat where you're gonna put the condensing unit?
They have the back.
In the back, okay.
Okay, that's your recommendation.
Yeah. Okay. Again, this is Remsen Avenue, it's been paved in 2023, so you're gonna have to add a note to the plan eventually.
Okay,
There's gonna be infrared when you do the trenching.
right, okay. Is that comment in your?
No, it's not.
It's not.
What is the revision date on those plans?
12/20/23.
That's the latest revision?
That's the latest, yes.
And those are the plans that were submitted as part of the
Yes,
application?
yeah, there's no change.
Does that complete your testimony?
Yeah, and additional is that this new loop, we will be providing runoff downspout that will go underneath the sidewalk and will discharge to the curb. That's about it. That's it.
Okay. Professionals have any questions for the witness? All right, Seeing none, your next witness, I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask you, the variances that you know that are required, all right, there's an FAR variance, is that correct? From .55 to .81.
There is a variance from 0.5 to 0.81, but actually the existing is also a variance of 1.11. There is an cantilever building here, the existing one is a cantilever building. We are chopping it out to reduce the footprint, the floor area of the building. So it actually it's going down from 1.11 to 0.81, although it is still above the required 0.55. To get it with 0.55 because the lot area of this is 2,500. So it's basically very tiny. Because if you're really going to comply with the 0.055, it means that we're going to have around 1,300 square foot floor area with double, with a two-story, you have 650. It's quite that's very difficult to comply with 0.055.
But you're saying that the FAR is less than the existing building,
Right.
but once we demolish that building, we lose any right to continue that existing FAR, we understand that?
Yes. The existing footprint of the basement, we are keeping it, but the building have an overhang. We have there's an overhang, and that overhang will be chopped off. So
On the
it's
side.
actually very reducing it.
I can show you.
Go ahead,
It
Larry.
will be discussed by the architect when.
I will leave that for Larry. Larry, you're familiar with that issue?
Yes.
All right, we'll get back to Larry. I mean, the other violation
I
is
need to
maximum.
swear Larry, and Larry hasn't been sworn in.
No, he's not testifying now.
Oh,
I was gonna finish up, and then Larry would come back on. I wanted to keep a flow, if you will. Now, the building coverage you have here is maximum 60,
Yeah,
and you have provided 58.8.
impervious,
So how is that?
impervious, you're talking about impervious coverage. Yeah, 60 is the required, in our proposal is 58.8.
Well, am I missing something? Or 58.8 is less than 60? Why do we exceed the maximum?
No, we are not,
What?
we are not.
No, but you say violation on the far right. I just wanted to make sure
In the FAR, we are in violation, but not.
No. If you, okay. If
Yes.
you go to the right-hand violation, one violation is max impervious coverage, required 6%, provided 58.8%, and then the next time is violation.
That's not a violation.
Okay, now let me go to the next one. Maximum building coverage, 40% is required, and we exceed that by 0.4%, is that correct?
Yeah, we exceed that by 0.4%, but the existing building coverage is 42.4. Actually, we're reducing that from existing to
I
proposed.
understand, that's something our planner will use as support, but we lose that benefit once we knock down the building.
Yeah,
All right, so we have those two violations, the FAR and the building coverage. And then we go to parking. Parking requires 4, and we have no parking on site, is that right?
no, existing and proposed.
And what was there before?
There's no.
There was never any parking there.
No.
All right,
And actually, we're eliminating any possibility of car going inside by taking off the driveway, reducing the driveway, the width of the passwalk from 7 feet to 4 feet. So just to make sure that there's no car going in.
I got it. All right. Thank you, I just wanted to elaborate on some of those issues.
All right, two things. Todd?
Yes. Impervious coverage, when the application was submitted, was at 65%. They reduced it, now they're down to 58%. The maximum is 60, it complies.
Compliance, correct.
So there's no impervious coverage
No violation.
violation. There is a tiny violation for building coverage.
Right. Kristen, you have?
Thank you for confirming my math.
Mr. Stahl, we have one more question here.
So the basement, what will the basement be used for?
The basement, it's noted in the plan, that the basement is for storage and utilities only. It's indicated in the plan.
Yeah. When I look at it though, there's like big windows and it seems like it's allowing for like some risky behavior. Cause like I live in New York City and those windows are enough for like someone to live. So like how are we gonna make sure that it's just for the utilities?
Well, I will tell you, that my recommendation will be that we have a deed restriction. Mr. Solomon and I have used those before with success, and you can still say, well, just because it's a deed doesn't mean you cannot be violated, but pardon me, the issue is you get a violation, you get a stop order, you got problems. And we would, that's what the recommendation would be a deed restriction. No residence, no use of basement for residential purposes, storage only.
Does that satisfy?
So there's multiple ways to deal with that.
And the windows are there for fire reasons, right?
So the deed restriction will let potential buyers be on notice that the basement can't be used when they do a title search to purchase the property. So no one can come to the building as a purchaser in the future and say, I didn't know.
Okay.
We could also require them to put it on the plans so that the inspector who takes the plans, not the deeds out to the field, can read it on there. The basement, I believe in this particular case, the basement is relatively high. So I don't think it's a full flight of stairs down into the basement. I think it's only about a half flight. So in this case, those windows are because it's only like, it's halfway out of the ground. Yeah.
We'll put a condition in there.
And is the basement going to be finished?
Well, let's ask Mr. Johnson when he testifies.
Okay.
Mr. Young, all finished now?
Unless you have questions, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Next
All right, Larry,
witness.
let me swear you in, Larry.
Before I continue, does any member of the board have any conflict with this application? Forgot to ask the board. Move on. Everybody okay with this? Fine.
I assume Mr. Johnson has appeared, we'll swear him in, but I assume he's appeared before this board more times than I can recollect.
He has many times.
All right, Larry? I'm sorry. Larry,
Can you please state your name, spell your last name for the record?
My name is Lawrence Johnson. I trade as Larry C. Johnson Architect.
You swear affirm to tell all the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, Larry, if you don't mind, I use your first name, that's what you have. You are the architect for this project, is that correct?
That is correct.
And you're familiar. Let me, I always like to go to the last question first, if you will. The basement design, we understand that it's going to be an unfinished basement, but and it will have a restriction on it, both on the plan and by deed restriction, that it will not be used for residential purposes. You have no problem with that, is that correct?
No problem at all.
All right, why don't you deliver your normal presentation?
Just to clarify the basement, what I'm going to do and what I've done on many of the other projects like this in New Brunswick is that the ceiling height in the basement will be less than 7 feet, which makes it automatically a non-habitable space. That's marked on the plan. These windows, as you see, are existing in the existing building, and you can see the overhang on this existing building, which was giving us more FAR than necessary. So now we're removing all of that, and our building is a lot more conventional. I'm not saying it's like the other buildings, because I think this one's going to be much better. But the residential walls go straight up from the foundation. Okay? And the foundation and the use of the basement will be governed by the fact that it's less than 7 feet. It's non-habitable. The windows, I think it's a good idea to have it like in the basement. be secured, there'll be, safety glass and whatnot. So I think we'll kind of solve those kind of two problems. The other,
Yeah, Mr. Johnson, I think they're just talking on themselves.
oh, okay. The other, we're gonna still enter, the porch will probably look a little better than this, of course, aesthetically, but we're entering the building at the same location, but each unit will have its own separate outside entrance. So from a passive security, once you're inside your door, you're inside your unit. You don't go into a lobby and then go to two different units. Everyone has their own exterior entrance.
What's the access to the basement from each unit?
The access to the basement is only from the first floor. Everybody has their own utilities in their own apartment. They have their electrical box, they have their hot water heater, they have everything there. And the only thing that we need to have for someone to get into the basement is if public service wants the gas meters there. We've been putting gas meters outside. The electric meters are outside. So on a regular basis, the only thing, if they're doing remote water meter reading, then there's no reason for any utility people to have to come into the resident to get to the basement. So the basement is strictly for storage and utilities or whatever, if they choose to put a laundry down there. But even as a residential laundry, that's okay, but not a public, not for the whole building. Okay. It could only be for one use. But each floor is similar in size and layout. Each floor is in size and layout fairly much identical. The entrance into the main living dining area, and then it goes back to the utility toilet room area, and then 2 bedrooms in the back. The building used to have a door that went out the side in the old building, and people, and we had this discussion at TAC meeting, is that we don't want people to be able to have access to this and make it a third family without someone knowing it. Okay. So everything goes in and out of the front door, and in order to use the backyard, they come in, they walk down, and then they can use the backyard for social events for the personal families of the two units. The siding on the sides of the building in the rear are vinyl siding. That's what's called for now. We initially did vinyl siding on the front, but we did discuss in the TAC meeting that we should change that, but I did not change the physical, but we are going to change the front of the building to hardy board. And the right side would certainly be a one-hour wall with the siding on it. The roof, of course, is a roof with a shingles. But other than that, we have no other unusual features to the house.
Why are they requiring what is the issue with the FAR? Why is there a violation of the FAR?
The this zone, the required lot size is 5,000 square feet. 0.55 is a little more than half of that. When you have a half-size lot, and you do 0.55, it is a quarter of what the requirement could be. So it's almost impossible to comply with that and still comply with the code portion of the code that says that your living area, if you're building a house, has to be somewhere around 900 and some square feet. So you know, it would be a conflict there. You can't build a house that's 650 square feet and live in it, according to the building code.
Thank you.
Is that it, Mr. Johnson? You have more to add?
That's,
Conclude your testimony?
that's it.
Okay. Any member of the board have any questions or board professionals?
I know, sorry, I know in the comments, it says that the building should maintain an appearance of a family dwelling with a single front door. But I noticed on your plans for the architecture, it had two doors. So I'm just wondering why the choice?
No, what we're applying for is a two-family house. That's what the application is for. So we're doing that, but then because of passive security, it's best if everybody owns their own space. They walk in their door, that's theirs. They walk in the door on the first floor, that's theirs. So there's no public interior space. Okay?
Other questions?
I have a question. Oh, go ahead. Are you replacing the steps in the front?
Yes.
So can you move them back so they're not in the right of way, since you're replacing them?
Yeah, right now, they look to be about 4 or 5 feet into the public right of way.
I'll have to revisit that part of the ordinance.
I mean, the reason we didn't bring it up in the report, because it says on the engineering plan that they're gonna remain and repair. So now if you're replacing them, we need to move them back so they're out of the right of way.
Okay, simply have to come back, I'll get something back to show you that we can do that.
Well, Larry, let me ask you this, the steps in need of replacement.
Excuse me?
Are the steps in need of replacement
Yes, they are.
for safety purposes?
Yeah, I mean, they would have to be at minimum repair.
I mean, the rear yard setback is 37.5, where 30 is required, so you could definitely move the building some feet and not have a problem.
Well, you'd have to do something with the foundation wall.
I think, you're staying with the foundation wall.
That was our.
Right, yeah, to stay with the foundation.
All right, will you come back with a revision on that? Or
Well, let me ask you this. If we change the foundation, does that change our application process?
In what sense? In what sense?
As long as you don't make it bigger, it's not gonna affect
No, as long as
you.
as long as the
If you
rooms stay
build
the
on your own
same.
foundation,
Sorry.
then you're going up with what you have. If I build a new foundation, do I have to adhere to all of the new setbacks?
Well, I don't think you're, and it hasn't been raised, that we are piggybacking off of the prior foundations. There's no issue of abandonment, we're just using them. That's my understanding, Todd and Dan.
Yeah.
So I would take the position, if you want to move it back, to take you're helping everyone out because you're taking the steps out of the right of way. Now, what's gonna happen is, let's say in 5 years, we get a hurricane or something, and those steps where they are now are destroyed, and you wanna put new steps back in, we'll be back here again, because we're gonna have to get another approval because now they're not conforming. Am I being too technical, Todd, or is that accurate?
Well, I just simply, I think it makes sense if we're gonna tear the building down and rebuild the building, if we're gonna put the stairs back, let's do it right. If we need to
I
adjust
agree.
it a little bit, and technically, this board doesn't even have the ability to grant you approval to something in the right of way. That would be the city council, and it just complicates this
No, I agree with
application,
you.
and to go to the city council for steps. I think it makes sense, since you're sort of still at the drawing board, to do it the right way, try to get it all on your property. If there's something that can be done with the, you know, the foundation underneath to shore it up, so the steps, you know, work safely.
You guys have enough
We can
time
do that.
to get that in by, May 8th?
28.
No, plans to be in by the 8th.
I have no problem with that.
Okay. And I agree with you, Todd, because that was my hypothesis. Something were to happen where the building was not demolished but had some injury. I gotta put a sidewalk, steps back up, and someone's gonna come along like Dominguez and say, you can't do that.
Well, I don't work for engineering, so it wouldn't be me. But actually, on the topic, not to belabor this and drag it out, I worry that the steps being open underneath is just going to cause rubbish and debris and other things to accumulate under there. So while we're moving the steps back and essentially throwing
Make them
out some
solid.
steps, if we can, make
They'll
them
be
solid.
They'll be solid.
Or screen them or something.
But I think, well, that just makes it harder to see the traffic that got stuck there, and then you take it out every 5 years. I'd rather if they just got made solid.
We'll make them solid brick.
Okay.
And,
Michael, we need, so with engineering and architecture, we need those changes by the 8th of May.
Any other questions? Kristen, do you have a
Yeah, so with the, oh, sorry, go ahead.
For the existing foundation, is it waterproof now, and if not, will it get renovated to the extent to be waterproof? There are a lot of older buildings in the area, a lot of where it's in the basement.
Just clarify, waterproof and damp-proof. Most basements are typically damp-proofed. In order to waterproof the foundation, there's several coatings that go on, then a protection board, and it's a different process than black tar and parging. Okay? If you're requesting it to be waterproof, the question is, if it's only storage and utility, I don't know, it warrants that kind of investment. If it's,
What kind of utility is gonna be down there?
I'm sorry?
What kind of utility is gonna be down there? You said like water heaters?
Well,
electric
probably the
panels?
water meter, definitely the water meter.
Maybe a boiler?
I'm sorry?
Boiler or a furnace?
Probably furnace, furnace there and furnace in the attic. So we'll have some ductwork and things like that. But we won't have furniture, desks, tables, big television, nothing like that will be in the basement. I can only speak from personal experience because when I built my house, I did that. I waterproofed the basement. My office is in that space. So the few times we've had major water situations, maybe a little bit, but I know people in the neighborhood, the damp proof, the moisture comes through the walls, even though it's apart. But to spend another $15,000, $20,000 to waterproof, I'm not sure that that's a burden you want to
No, I don't think we're gonna.
put on
Only cost that much.
for a utility basement. You know, if it was a finished basement, recreation room, things like that, then maybe the investment would be justified. But certainly we would damp proof the basement walls. We fill them solid with concrete, we parch them. But to call them waterproof, would not necessarily be a correct term.
So if I'm living there, I have no parking spots, and in order to get to the outside back, I have to come out the front door and go around the side to a driveway / walkway that you've shrunk.
Well,
So
it's a
the
4
cars-
foot, it's a 4-foot walkway, but you're exactly like everybody else is on the block, and up and down the block. No one has parking in a 25-foot lot in that neighborhood where they drive in the back and park, turn around and come back.
Just because not everyone else has it, doesn't mean that it isn't the right thing.
I'm not
Well,
saying
that's
it's
gonna be
not
part of the
right.
planning testimony that, we'll bring in with regard to the neighborhood scheme and parking. I understand that.
Well, I was trying to get to, were you suggesting that we need to have parking in the back?
I just want to confirm what my experience as a resident would be. No parking, and I have to come all the way out and go around. That's my experience if I live there, yeah.
Well, there was a door where tenants, like people in the building could go out and go in the back without coming to the street.
Yeah,
The
but you said
TAC
stop
meeting, the TAC committee requested that we eliminate that possibility. That's why that possibility is not there anymore.
Why?
That's the TAC meeting. So people on the TAC.
Yeah. We made a previous submittal, and that door is shown on that submittal. But it was asked to be removed. So we did not make the decision.
Tom, do you want to include that?
I'm just looking at my old report to see if it was one of my comments. I don't think that was one of mine. It might come from fire or construction.
So we can have the internet, so if we-
I can't
We will try.
conclusively say that we will try.
Okay, any other questions, anybody have? Okay.
The Chairman, as I understand, for the next meeting, which I assume will be on May 2/8,
Yes.
that we will bring with us the a revised, which will be in the hands of staff by the 8th of May, engineering a revised plan showing a sliding, if you will, of the building with sufficient distance to keep the new stairs within the property line and not in the right of way. And we will have architectural plans which will be consistent with that change. And then we will have a planner to testify on the issue of the FAR and the parking. I think there may be one other variance, building coverage, I think, but I'll check that out.
That's correct.
That's my understanding.
Right, okay, so that's correct. Jeremy, anything else?
The application will be carried until the 28th with no further publication on your part required.
And Dan, I'll get you another email carrying this to May 31.
Carrying it to,
28.
No, the time for,
He'll give me a couple extra days.
oh,
I don't care, you want June 15th, you know, it
your
doesn't matter.
letter consenting to the extension.
Yeah, I never give Dan or anyone a hard time. I'll probably go both to the 15th of June, just for the heck of it.
Okay, so we can't have any public comment on this application because the testimony is not concluded. There will be another hearing, and then anybody in the audience who's here for these two applications can comment at that time.
Can I just ask him a question?
After the meeting is over, if he wants to answer it, up to
Sure.
up to you. All right, on another note then, any other matters of interest to the public?
Thank you very much. Oh,
No? Do you have any questions of it? Come on up. You're sworn in, so.
Can you please state your name, spell your last name for the record?
Spell my last name,
Yes.
Kenise Howard, Howard.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? You have 5 minutes. I'll give you
Okay,
a
just a quick question. It's my first time attending this meeting, and I just wanted to know if these blueprints of the projects are available for public view, because when we're here, we don't see anything, so I just want to know for the next time, where can we see
Yes,
it?
they are on the city's
website.
Okay, so what he showed
Department of
tonight,
Planning, you can see that, you can view, yes, I'm sorry.
Some of the things that they showed tonight are exhibits, which means that they brought them that day, and we don't have them in advance, so they're just for the hearing.
okay,
So in the future, I'll just bring this up, Mr. Stahl, if your presenters could make sure to angle their documents better that the public can see them during the hearing.
Well, I'll also ask on both applications that I get PDF copies of the exhibits, with the elevations, on the prior application, and I don't think there are any on this one. Oh, yeah, that elevation you had was already submitted to the board, is that correct? Right, but you'll have to, I'll get you new elevations on the prior application, so that you can see it online.
okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, come forward.
Can you please state your name, spell your last name for the record?
Mr. Kelton, K-E-L-T-O-N?
Do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You may begin your 5
Okay,
minutes.
I just wanted to ask a question because I've never been around where they demolish something. So what do the people, the residents do that live there? Like y'all tearing down the house, we're almost next door to the house.
Here's, I can answer if I'm permitted. What happens with demolition, and you are absolutely correct, the applicant has to go to the city, get a demolition permit, and must provide for extermination of the building prior to demolition, so that, I'm not assuming there is any, but if there are any mice or anything in there, they are without a life anymore after the extermination. So it's not where we just demolish a building and let everything go. I mean, this is traditional, not just this. So we get a permit, we get an exterminator, we get a certification of extermination, the building will be demolished in accordance with construction standards of the city, using a dumpster or whatever, and cleaning up the site. Was that accurate, Dan?
So do the residents do, our windows has to be closed? Because like, I have an 80-something-year-old mother that has asked, she's really sick, so I'm saying, do her windows
Well, we
have to
would,
be? I mean, I've never been around.
Does the city monitor it, sir? Monitor for lead and everything?
for what?
Lead dust?
Sir, could we just,
Then I don't know.
Lady has the floor right now.
That's
so-
whatever the construction code is.
I would just, to direct my clients, to make sure that you would be notified and, that the windows be closed. There will be some dust, I have to assume, although they may water down the street to keep the dust down, but I would make sure that they notify all residents, that time of day to close the windows.
Any public comment on this, on the general scope of things? Seeing
Can
none?
I ask a question or not?
Well,
Yes.
well, you can ask a question. General.
Come up, give
Yes,
us
a general.
a public comment, yes.
Anthony DeCara, Sunday Remsen.
I'm sorry, please say your name, spell your last name for the record.
Anthony DeCara, D-I-C-A-R-A.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
All right, you may begin. You have 5 minutes.
Right now, there's a cantilever that sticks out close to my house, and I guess I had a problem with the fire, being a fire hazard. Are you extending, and you say you're going with the footprint?
Sir, this is
Yes,
about,
here.
you're asking about the application. You can only ask general public comment questions. You have to wait till May to
Okay.
ask about the application itself.
Okay, that's what you said, okay. I just thought the questions were going out. Okay, sorry.
Okay, no problem. All right, we'll close the public portion. Any other questions or comments by the board or professionals? Seeing none, motion to adjourn? Second.